All right, we are now ready to start the Tennessee portion of the press conference, and we'll begin with the student athletes. I'd like to remind you to make sure your phones are on mute. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Chapman will get you the microphone, and we can ask then. So, who has a question for the student athletes? Let's go ahead and start up here, and then we'll go there.
Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Tamari, how has it been to be back home, I guess? And especially after all you've been through, to be able to play in the second round in front of, with your team and in front of your hometown fans?
Yeah, I think it's definitely full circle for me. Like you said, to be able to come home, play in front of people that I haven't seen in a while, that haven't been able to get out to Knoxville to see me play. Teachers, trainers, my mom's side of the family, everybody had came in and rallied behind us for us to push through to get to the second round.
All right, let's go to Jaden on the edge there.
Jaden Watson-Fisher, News and Observer. Tamari, obviously your sister plays for Carolina, and she's down in Columbia. Have you been privy to some of the family texts in terms of figuring out logistics to get everyone where they need to be to see both of y'all?
Yeah. So when I went home in the summer, my mom had an Excel spreadsheet of all the games. Once both of our schedules came out, where she was gonna go, hotels, and the whole nine. So I think she's been to 43 games this season between the two of us, and counting. So yeah, I know she gets really excited about that. Her being able to work remote lets her travel all over to come watch us play, and that means a lot for the both of us.
Okay, other questions for the student athletes? Let's go to Ethan, and then we'll get Ernie.
Hey, Ethan McDowell from the Wolfpack. This is for either player. What's your favorite part about playing with Rakia?
Jasmine, could you answer that, please?
I would just say that her being a competitor is really the best thing about Kia. She works extremely hard. She has a really great work ethic. And she wants to win every single possession. And playing with somebody like that, you never have to worry if they're going to go hard. You never have to worry about, do they want to win? You never have to worry about any of that. So I think that's the best thing about Kia.
Okay, let's go over here to Ernie.
Wolfpack Sports Radio. Jasmine, you're the point guard in this game tomorrow. What's your biggest concern as you handle the ball the majority of the time for your team? What is your biggest concern going into tomorrow's game? Tempo, turnovers. Expound on that if you can.
Well, one thing we know about NC State is that they play really good defense. They want to kind of keep you out the paint. That's where we like to play, is in the paint. So I wouldn't say that's a concern for me. I think we really have a good game plan going in, and we're really going to be locked in and focused. So I wouldn't say it's a big concern, but I do know that's how they like to play, and that's one of our strengths for us.
Okay, let's go to Bob.
Bob Sutton with the Associated Press. Tamari, how rewarding has it been for you to get a full season in, and were you ever concerned that maybe your career was over last season?
I think it was scary at the time, just kind of the unknown of, what my next steps were once I got diagnosed. But just knowing I had a good crew with us, my teammates were really supportive. Our doctors and my strength coaches, my coaches have been supportive through all of that. So they just knew once I could get back on the court and start playing again, they had a game plan for me and a timeline for me. So we just kind of, took it one day at a time.
Let's go up here to Lindsay.
Tamari, so many people find so much inspiration in your story. And what have you learned about yourself through this journey?
That I'm not patient, I think. It was hard sitting out, patiently waiting to be able to get cleared and play again. But it was also hard trying to get back into the swing of things as well. Obviously, I would choose this hard a million times over again. But I think both processes taught me patience, taking it one day at a time, one practice at a time. I wasn't going to get it all back in a day or two or a game or two. So I think that's the biggest thing.
All right, let's go back to Ernie.
Carey High School, Tamara, this is for you. How did you make it out of Raleigh? I mean, I'm just wondering. I live not too far from Carey High School, so and you're right here in ACC country. So how did they recruit you? Did you just want to leave, state of North Carolina, or what was the situation with that?
Yeah, I played EYBL, so I think getting in the circuit where they put me in front of a lot of different colleges and universities all over the country, I think that helped me get out more. Also, I think I just grew up coming to these games. I mean, probably came to the first one when I was in 4th or 5th grade between UNC Duke and NC State. So I think it just all came down to when I got older, kind of what I was looking for. I kind of could figure out myself a little bit more, what I wanted for myself in the future, and Tennessee aligned perfectly with that.
Okay, let's go back to Lindsay. Okay.
This is for both of you. There are a lot of new eyes on women's basketball right now. Things are really rising, but there's also a lot of wonderful history in the sport. Growing up, what are some of your favorite memories? You mentioned coming to these games here. Do you have any specific players that you loved watching or specific memories? I don't know, maybe any volunteers also that you loved watching growing up?
Jasmine, could you start, please?
Honestly, when you talk about other Vols or other Lady Vols that I like to watch, when I was growing up and I finally started to get into basketball, I was always watching Megan Simmons. I mean, her track record at Tennessee is amazing, being Player of the Year, I think, twice. And she was a speedy guard, just like me. And so looking at her, and back then they were wearing, like, huge jerseys. So it looked like she was going way faster than she was. But I always admired how fast she went and kind of, like, aligned my play with hers. And that's really where I kind of fell in love with the game of basketball, is watching her and going to Final Fours.
Tamari, can you add anything?
I think for me, more so, I just loved watching basketball. Like you said, growing up in the ACC, I watched all the games, SEC, ACC, Big Ten. I just liked watching good basketball. I think I don't really have any really specific players. Obviously, we have Candace and Tamika and Shamika, the GOATs. And, when we get time, we go back and look at the amazing things that they did at Tennessee. But for me, I just was kind of all over the place.
Let's go to that edge over there.
Ryan Sylvia, Rivals.com. Tamari, thinking back to when Jasmine transferred in, what were your initial impressions of what she'd bring to the team, and what's it been like playing with her this year?
My first initial impression off the court was that she's hilarious. She is one of the funniest people on the team. I think the whole visit we were cracking jokes the whole time as soon as she stepped foot on campus. But also that she's a competitor. She was really good at making reads on the offensive end, and that she's going to have your back on both ends of the court. She's a good communicator, and she's one of the leaders on the court. No matter the highs or the lows of the game, she stays poised and keeps everybody else poised as well.
All right. Let's see if we can get a Zoom question now from Maria Cornelius. Maria, you can go ahead.
Jasmine, you've been at Tennessee 2 years now, of course, and last year you got to play the second round on your home court, and now, of course, you're in Raleigh. I know capacity is 7,000, but everyone says it is very loud there, probably with the lower ceiling. Do you think it's helped Tennessee that you have played in some very hostile environments at South Carolina and in Greenville, which was essentially a South Carolina home game, going into this game? I don't think this is a team that's going to be intimidated by noise.
Yeah, I definitely think it helps that we've played in such environments that you kind of talked about. But even when we were at the game watching NC State play, Chattanooga, it was extremely loud in there. I mean, the seats were full. I don't think you saw any empty seats. But we're used to playing in that environment. And we, in any environment that we play in, we lean on each other and the coaching staff. We know no matter where we go, whether we're on our home court or not, we have each other. And we play for each other. So I don't think that the fans or anything else is going to be an issue.
All right. Do we have any other questions for the student athletes? Maria may have another question. Let's check and see. Maria, do you have a second question?
Yes, please.
Okay, go right ahead.
This is for Tamari. Tamari, your mother is all over social media, TV, newspapers,
Yeah.
March Madness Twitter account is now calling her the real MVP. Is she becoming more famous than her children? And is she going to be a little bit unbearable here for a little while?
Perfect example of this. Yesterday after the game, I obviously had a lot of family here, so I was with them after the game, and I kept calling my mom, and she finally called me back, and I'm like, where are you? Like, I'm waiting for you. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I had an interview, but I'll be over there in a few minutes. And I said, okay, yeah. So whenever you get a chance, I'm here waiting for you. But yeah, I think it's something that me and my sister, we grew up with her being at all of our games. So I think for her to get the recognition that she's getting on social media, I mean, in the interviews, the news articles, like, she's through the moon with all of that. So, yeah.
All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, ladies. We appreciate your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Coach Harper's interview session will start at 2:35, so 9 minutes. All right, at this time, we're going to start Coach Harper's portion of the press conference. We're just going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand and wait till we get you the microphone. So, who has a question for Coach Harper? Let's go back to Lindsay.
Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Coach Wes Moore was talking all about your relationship and how far back you go and how much your friendship means to him. What is it like you to be facing him in such a big moment?
Yeah, we've coached against each other before, but obviously not in the NCAA tournament. And it's fun, but it's not both. It's somebody that we pull for when we're not playing them, and somebody that I respect a lot, and I've appreciated his friendship throughout the years. So I know, when the ball goes up, he's locked in on what he's doing. It's same for us. We're locked in and gonna do the best we can to get the win in advance.
Okay, let's go to Cora.
Sorry, I'm going to keep asking about this, but Wes he's been sharing a lot of stories about you guys.
I'm so scared.
One of them was about how he got you to come to Chattanooga from Auburn. And I was just wondering if you could share your side of the story of how he got you to leave Auburn and go coach with him at Chattanooga.
Wes is a really good recruiter. He's always been a really good recruiter. And, in that moment, I was thinking about my next steps, and he happens to call, and he's talking to me about his job. But obviously, he knows that at this point, I'm young, very young, but I'm also married. And we were talking through kind of what he saw for me at Chattanooga, and I'll never forget. He says, "So what does your husband do?" And I said, "Well, he wants to coach someday." And at that point, he had gotten out of high school teaching and coaching. He was working at a golf course, and I told him that. And then I think the next phone call, he says, "Well, I might have another spot available." And that was the first time that John and I ever worked together, was with Wes.
Okay, let's go over here to our left, and then we'll go back there.
Hey, Kelly. Luis Fernandez, WRL. To continue the Wes questions.
It's fine.
I think Wes has this persona that he seems to have when he talks with media, when he kind of has the camera in front of him. He seems like this very fun, lovable type of person. Is that who he truly is? Who is the Wes Moore that you know?
Man, he's funny. Most of the time, Wes is that person. He loves lunch. No salad dressing, extra cheese on his salad, unsweet tea. He's going to change his order 30 times. You hate it for the waitress. Wes is always complaining about something. In a great way that only Wes can do. I'll tell you a great story of him. So Wes also doesn't like to pay full price for a lot of things. And so when I first started working with him at Chattanooga, I was under 25. So you can't rent a car without extra fees under 25. And so he was not going to let me rent a car to go recruiting. He rented the car, and I rode shotgun, which typically doesn't happen, right? For assistant coaches, you don't usually do that. But we were in Orlando, and this is prior to GPS, prior to cell phones, so we were reading maps. So I'm in the front seat reading the map. Has anybody in here ever ridden with Wes in the car? Okay, well, you wouldn't understand. And so it was perfect because I could read it and say, I think we got to go here, and we were going to get off no matter how late that decision was made. I thought it was we were a pretty good match from the first moment we worked together for a lot of reasons. But he is fun to be around. He really is. He's very competitive, and I think he takes a lot of things to heart, especially when it comes to his teams.
Okay, let's go in the back there.
Coach, I got to tell you, he told the exact same story, so I'm glad.
So it's real, yeah. So y'all got
exactly.
it.
Exactly. You spoke about how Wes kind of gave you and John your first start together as coach. What is it like coaching with your husband, and what are the upsides and some of the challenges?
Man, we've done this so long. I haven't even answered that question in years. I think the some of the benefits. I don't go home after a tough loss or even a tough practice, and my spouse put his arm around me and say, "Okay, it's okay, honey." It's not okay. He gets it. So having somebody that really, truly understands what we're going through or what I'm going through each and every day, I think it's been beneficial. For many years, 14 to be exact, we coached together. I should say that we coached 12 years of the first 14 years of our marriage without children. And I think for us, the team was our family. And we really embraced that life. And you could really pour into our team. We still do, but now we just have our own two with us. That makes things challenging. When I'm busy, he's busy. It makes it difficult to balance being parents and coaches that are coaching together. I think that's one of our biggest challenges, to be honest with you. People think, that we go home and we talk about it 24/7. We don't. I think the benefit of having children, we go home and it's all about them when we're at home. But I think just the understanding of what we're doing has been beneficial to do it together.
Let's go to Cora, and then we'll come back.
Obviously, NC State has a really great post presence with River Baldwin, but they have some really just good guards on the perimeter, fast, athletic, great scorers. Just how do you, approach, that kind of challenge with your team, especially, this team has grown a lot defensively, but that wasn't always this team's strength.
Yeah, obviously, I think the balance that NC State has offensively with their personnel, with their actions, you just have to be great in all areas defensively. They do such a good job of taking advantage of your mistakes, whether that's in the paint or on the perimeter. I think they can spread the ball around and find opportunities for them to attack in different ways. So I think that is a huge challenge, guarding the actions and not making mistakes. But hopefully we can go back and look at some of our games that we've played, some teams that maybe are similar in style, maybe bits and pieces of each of the teams we've played to try to help give us confidence in what we're doing tomorrow.
Let's go in the back.
Coach, can you speak to having Tamari back? Can you describe the mental fight she's had to be back in the court this last year and a half, and where she's grown?
Yeah. Well, first off, everyone knows the physical challenge that Tamari had to get back out on the court, and obviously, last year when we got the diagnosis, we were just extremely concerned for her health, and once we were able to get past that and realize she was going to be okay, there was this unknown of what's going to happen, and she wanted to come back, she wanted to try it. But we also knew that we had to be patient with her. She had to be patient with herself. We continued to tell people to be patient with her. And I knew that this was going to be a months-long process. And that's what you're seeing now. We knew that for her to get back to where she needed to be able to help this team at an elite level, it was just going to take a lot of time and a lot of reps and some ups and downs through those months. And that's where we're at right now. And that, it makes for a great story. You talk about all that and how we knew this was going to take time, but when you know that and you then put yourself in her shoes and you think about having to deal with the emotions, not just of a diagnosis in that moment, but wanting to be somewhere and it taking so long to get there. That's hard. And I'm so proud of her and her fight. And you know, she just came back every day. She never got too down when I know it was hard. And just really happy that she's been rewarded with being able to play and being able to be effective on both ends of the court as this season has progressed. So I'm just really proud of her and happy for her, really happy.
Okay, we'll go Lindsay and then back there, and then we'll go Cora.
Coach, there have been a lot of new eyes on women's basketball, but I think sometimes the history gets a little bit lost in the shuffle and a little disrespected. You had so many great moments in the NCAA tournament. I want to ask you 2 questions. What were your kind of standout moments for you when you were playing in this tournament? And also, what were your memories before you played growing up?
Yeah, goodness, the standout moments. I'm very blessed to have had a lot of opportunities in this tournament, and obviously at the elite level, and us winning 3 national championships. It's hard to pick one moment, but we'll go with the 39-0 season. My junior year, it was truly remarkable for our team to cap that season, that perfect season with a national championship. It's so hard to do. Oh my goodness, it is so hard to do. So hard to win, and much less win and go undefeated in an entire season. So, you know, you look back to that. We didn't know how hard it was in that moment. I mean, we couldn't really appreciate it until we didn't win the following year, which leads me to my second one was probably losing, actually, in the NCAA tournament for the first time. That was my senior year, Elite Eight. I'm still not over it, but it's okay. I can talk about it now. It was tough. You know, you remember sometimes those moments that you hurt, the painful moments. Sometimes those are more vivid, and they're hard. When I was growing up, I remember watching Pat Summitt, and you know, I remember her teams. And the year before I got to Tennessee, they lost to UConn, I believe, in the national championship game. So, and you know, there's so many great players, right, that came through. And me growing up in the state of Tennessee, those are the players that I watched. Nikki McCray was one that you know, she was just fun to watch. She played so hard, and her arms like covered, you know, the entire court. It felt like she was such a great defensive player and a great athlete.
Okay, we can stay on the aisle there.
Coach, you mentioned pulling from past games to prepare for NC State. How important do you feel is that #1 strength of schedule SEC gauntlet y'all had to play through, especially right now in this time of year?
Yeah, we hope that has helped prepare us. I think there have been numerous times late this season that we've been in tough situations and we've shown a lot of poise. That's what we want to draw from as well, not just the actions and not just how we need to play, but just the poise in those big games. And our team really has stayed pretty steady, kept emotions in check, and I think that's a really good strength to have going into a game like this.
We're going to get Cora, and then I got to take a Zoom call, and that's all the time we have, I'm afraid.
Kanaya Boyd, early enrollee, just seems like a bundle of fun. Whenever we see her around the team, just what has it been like to have her youthful presence around? I know a lot of players said she makes them feel a little bit old, but how beneficial has that been to have someone who's just so young and excited to be around and navigate college?
I'm telling y'all, Kanaya Boyd has been great for our team. And I know right now there are a lot of people that don't know who she is. Early enrollee is not playing this year, rehabbing an injury. Her personality has been very endearing to the entire team. Everybody, she's so young, everyone wants to take care of her a little bit, but she has really connected with everybody on the team. I think she has been huge for the personality and the culture of our basketball team. I think she arrived on campus right when we needed her.
Okay, we've got time for one more Zoom call. Maria Cornelius, do you have a question?
Yes, Coach, one more West thing. He gave a little more flavor to the hiring of John. He said that
Sure he did.
really wanted you, and he scrounged up a little bit of money to get John and told him all he had to do, and I get it now, was go to lunch with him every day. I wasn't sure what that meant. And he could play golf whenever he wanted. And then Wes said he was stunned when John left him to follow you to Western
This is
Carolina.
true. This is
Couldn't
very
believe he
true.
left. But on a more poignant note, and I knew this, but I never really thought about it, he noted that you have followed two legends, Kay Yao at NC State and then Pat Summitt at Tennessee. And that is not, I mean, that is very hard to do. Obviously, you knew both women. You played for Pat. He also said that Kellie is right where she needs to be right now. Just, have you ever been able to sort of wrap your arms around the fact you've had to follow two legends at two different schools and all that entails?
Yep, it's a lot. It was a lot, and it always will be, and that's okay. I think for me in both of those situations, you take those jobs with the understanding of what you're following. You understand the challenges, you understand the emotions, and you can't get in the middle of it when it's difficult and start complaining that you didn't know this was going to be this way, right? There was a lot. There's a lot with each situation. But that's what I've always tried to tell people. I'm never going to step up here and try to be somebody I'm not. I'm never going to try to be somebody else. And the best I can do is be the best version of me, regardless of where that is. And I've learned a lot from every place I've been, every coach I've worked with, every coach I've worked for, every player I've coached. All of those experiences. I mean, it's what life is, right? It's you just take all of that and you embrace it, you learn from it, and you move forward and try to be the best version of you the next day. And I think hopefully people that know me know that I love life. I enjoy what I do, and very, very fortunate to be in the position I'm in.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. We've got to let you get to practice now. Good luck tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, guys. Sorry I got a little windy.